to all the dispossessed youth of Africa, for perpetuation of communion with ancestral spirits through the fight for African freedom, and in the firm faith that the dead, the living, and the unborn will unite to build the destroyed shrines. Selah. Hello and welcome, beloveds, to another episode of Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. Revolution is coming to South Africa. There's no other way to put it. And this show is really going to give advice to my South African brothers and sisters on how you can prepare spiritually and mentally, because it's already unfolding right now, and you can put your energy, whether you're in South Africa or whether you're on the continent. I have received a few emails from young people saying, hey, I'm 21, I'm 25, I'm 19, I can't, I don't have the money to leave the city, I'm awakening, what do I do? And so this is going to try and kind of answer that question, because revolution is coming to South Africa. Many different parties are trying to trigger the revolution. And one of the things we have to ensure, beloveds, is that the revolution is not hijacked. And every single person has a role to play in that process. Because now there was a young man that I saw, you'll see him in the break of this video, where he was talking about, reset, rebuild, redistribute. Sounded awesome. But anyone who's using the word reset after the World Economic Forum talked about, the global reset and how they've been just pushing that agenda. And the way Babylon pushes an agenda is by talking about it on their mainstream, fake stream media 24/7, so that it becomes something that is implanted in people's mind. And that's how they do the whole predictive programming to create their reality. And so, we saw this young man, he was talking about redistribute, reset, rebuild. There are other different parties, the different media or groups on YouTube, as well as the police. They've said that they're investigating the possibility that high-level police have helped Zuma in this process or are orchestrating the violence. But it's beyond that. It's beyond that at this point. Because you see, the season we're in, beloveds, is the trigger season. Every nation, I'm telling you, there's so much tension across Africa. Not just because of this pandemic, but this pandemic has exacerbated, exaggerated the engineered poverty that so many people are living in. And, it's just this whirlwind of, and there's so much information that's getting to the people. So the people may be silent, but the people, majority of them actually know the agenda. And it's just like, will you fall for the agenda? Will it affect my food? And people are just waiting for a trigger. Don't forget, 75% of Africa is below 35, beloveds. And they've been shut out of the economies. They've been shut out of major, thinking jobs. They're just expected to do the menial labor. And even those jobs are scarce. And so every country is just waiting for that trigger. And Ramaphosa has just, and it may not have been him, but he has gone out for his people to try and purge them. But him, imprisoning Zuma was the trigger that South Africans were looking for, beloveds. And, now it's even bubbled over to something else. We saw the army coming out onto the streets. There were also allegations that something had happened to Zuma's prison, that it was on fire, but no confirmed reports from mainstream media. But beloveds, revolution is coming to South Africa. Not just because of Zuma. Zuma was the trigger, beloveds. And it's sad that it took the elite to kind of, butt heads. And it's also sad that there is a lot of looting and criminality, but that just shows you the levels of desperation of the people. The restaurants, everything was stripped. They took the tables, they took the chairs, everything. And of course, mainstream media is focusing on, they've stolen this, they've stolen that, and not giving you the deeper root cause. In fact, some mainstream media, even in South Africa, was celebrating that the army was on the streets. And so it's just like this was the trigger that was needed for something to go down. And maybe the great seer of South Africa, Credo Mutwa, he said, not only did he say Zuma was the last black president, so that makes you question Ramaphosa, right? But he also said that South Africa, there would come a season of turmoil, and South Africa would be, a great determinant. Something would happen in South Africa that would be a great determinant of what happened in Africa. And Africa is watching. And some other revolutionary movements like the Biafra in Nigeria, etc., they're all getting inspired. But revolution is coming to South Africa, beloveds. It's not even coming. It's already here. And we hope, that it does, number one, it doesn't get hijacked by the powers that be, that it doesn't become the trial one of the Hunger Games situation. Because, there was someone who was tweeting like, I wish Ramaphosa would just show some emotion instead of always reading those pre-scripted, so detached like a robot, beloveds. So we pray the revolution is not hijacked. We pray that it won't go out of control violence. And that will be determined by how the whole Zuma situation is handled. The elder just needs to be taken home and put under house arrest if it's going to come to that. Because whatever they're trying to safeguard in the Constitution and this and that, they're going to lose so much more by what is happening now. And spiritually, you can just see that people were just waiting for a trigger. And Zuma is the perfect trigger. And don't let that bullet go off by allowing anything to happen to Zuma, who has said that ill health was actually one of the reasons that he didn't attend court. Beloveds, these are slippery slope kind of situations and times. South Africa was waiting for the trigger. But you see, beloveds, there's so many different elements. Remember, the world is mental first. The world is spiritual first. So who knows if the Zulu society did something. They're already accusing Zuma's children of instigating revolutionary thoughts, violence, whatever. But beloveds, the world is mental first. And so right now, there are so many spirits that are coming into play with this revolution. And you have to make sure that in your process, because you will not survive from here on out if you just operate physically in your own power. The spiritual world is there to make you a superpower, a superman, a superwoman. But you have to be thinking the highest thoughts, seeing the highest vision for your nation. So that the spirit of the ancestors and the spirit of Africa, Mama Africa, Eden, that is so willing to work with you at such a time as this, gives you a supernatural revolution. So that it is not, hijacked and it doesn't go against you. So how do you do that? Let me take a short break. We'll be right back.
Reset, redistribute, and rebuild. That's all we're going to do over the next 2 to 3 years. So by the time 2024 comes, we'll be fully in control. Our destiny is ours. How we want to implement policies in favor of what we believe in, and how we're trying to channel and to build this country over the next 20 to 50 years starts now. One woman, one man, one vote. We're taking over. So don't be distracted by the sideshows. Don't be distracted by the rhetoric and the narratives that have been built for a long time that keep us divided. We're going to pull together and we're going to make this happen for ourselves, and we will not be dependent on handouts from anybody else. We will deliver free education, and we will create opportunities for each other as an entire nation, as a whole. We're bringing this thing together, so hold on tight. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but we will get over that line. Commander Bingo in Mapumulo, I'm going to be seeing you soon. I've listened to the voice notes that have made the rounds that are in circulation on the Mkhonto we Sizwe military veterans, what they've been saying. You have led and you're not afraid to be led. I have led, I'm not afraid to be led, and I'm looking forward to sitting down and discussing on how we're going to move this thing forward. And finally, Mr. Jacob Zuma, as a politician, I appreciate what you're doing. Keep fighting for what you believe in. I respect what you're doing for Jacob Zuma, the politician. It's your constitutional right to fight for yourself. You got rights too, so keep fighting the good fight. There is no constitutional crisis that will be created from you defending yourself. And to Jacob Zuma, the father, I appreciate you. You were leading from the front as always. Thank you very much for teaching us how to fight. And we love you, man. You know this. Keep fighting, and a luta continua. See you soon.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Welcome back, beloveds, to Wake Up Africa. My name is Dr. Mumbi Seraki. Although it's a borderline Ask Dr. Mumbi, I have seen your emails, beloveds, especially the few that I've gotten from the youth of South Africa, different young people, male, women, men, all in there under 30, asking, what do we do now? They've been shut out of the economy. I'm telling you, your generation has been targeted as much as, economically targeted the way your ancestors were, politically targeted. I'm telling you. And so the cycle has just gone on. But revolution is coming. I mean, it's not even anything prophetic. Like you can see, you don't need to be a seer to see that revolution is coming to South Africa. And there's so many different factions that would love to hijack that process. Don't forget, Babylon always has controlled opposition. And maybe this is the way they're trying to, reset South Africa, especially when you see the army on the streets and all these things. Are they trying to really create a Hunger Games situation? We know that that's the way, we've heard about the FEMA camps in the US, but are the ghettos going to become the FEMA camps in Africa? These are the questions that we have to ask ourselves, and Asia as well, beloveds. Like, this just didn't happen to Africa. It also happened to Asia. It happened to every community across the world. Some survived, some didn't. We perpetually survived, but those are definitely stories for other days. But how, if you're in the thick of this, how do we help this situation to have the best outcome for the liberation of Africa and her children? It's by having the highest vibration, beloveds, having the highest thoughts, seeing the highest vision. Let nothing limit you. That's what you can do in your home, amongst your family, amongst your friends, amongst your crew, is to do that. Because the women were asking, how do we stay safe? Like, definitely. Even one of the girls was like, yo, revolution is coming. Like, it really she was like, unrest is coming. How do we stay safe? And the way you stay safe, beloveds, get together with a group of other young women, old women, just women in general, and start to put put spiritual intentions towards the total liberation of your nation, the peaceful liberation of your nation, the peaceful transition of your nation, because the transformation that was supposed to happen in 1994 was just delayed, beloveds. It's been delayed for 18 years. Because the political apartheid systems transitioned to an economical apartheid system. And because we don't control our narrative, it's almost becoming now a mental apartheid system. Because all you're seeing is, people aren't addressing the fact that so many young people don't have jobs, don't have access to food, and the country is in level 4 lockdown. People aren't addressing that. They're just saying, look at these criminals, look at these looters. And you could see everyone, young and old. But it's beyond the looting, beloveds. It's beyond that. It's beyond this rivalry and butting of heads between Zuma and Ramaphosa. Ramaphosa, who is allegedly, according to Malema, trying to purge, his government and opposition of any voices that are disagreeable to him. But you see also, beloved, there's a global agenda going on where they're trying to create a global reset. They've said it openly. Because some of the revolutionaries who the faces of the revolution, if I can even call them that, are talking about, reset, rebuild, redistribute. It sounds awesome, but that reset word, because Babylon is so used to, although Ramaphosa is totally playing to their game, but Babylon is so used to either hijacking or creating these movements for themselves. So we have to make sure that it's not another orchestrated thing, because you see, Babylon will see your revolution coming, and so they'll bring your revolution up, and they'll create a revolution, or maybe they're trying to create a prison. So what do you do before we even predict all these things? What do? You hold the highest vibration for your nation. And that's why I keep saying work on yourself. Because you see, this is when the spirit of the ancestors and the spirit of the ancient ones is ready to work with many of us. But as many of you have told me, you don't want to attract the lower vibrational ones, which means you have to rise yourself to a different dimension of thought. Which is why focus on the good that's happening, even the news you're seeking out. Make 2% what mainstream media is and all the shows, videos are showing you of the violence, and make, at least 80 to 90% the revolutionary voices of what is really going on. Hold the highest vibration for your nation. Speak peace into your nation. And if you have grandmoms and grandpops around, ask them for some advice of, what did our people do in ancient times when this happened or that happened? Ask them, beloveds. Because revolution it's not even coming. It's here. It's unfolding in South Africa as we speak, beloveds. And you see, there's so many dynamics at play. So for us who are outside of Africa, we have to see that the global hand is going to try and manipulate this to fit their global agenda, whether it's to create a Hunger Games situation in South Africa where, the army becomes just a normal thing on the streets. It can't happen, though, because no army can stop a group of angry, hungry, melanated men and women. But you see, they might try and hijack that process. There's so many different things at play. We also have to pray for the safe return of Zuma to his home, whether it's under house arrest or whatever the situation. Because if anything happens to him, then this whole situation will blow even more out of control. Because I told you, people are looking for a trigger. The youth, which make up most of Africa, are looking for a trigger. Their voices have been shut out. They've been shut out from the society, basically, by being shut out economically. Only a few get through. And they're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And Ramaphosa has given the youth of South Africa that trigger. It's beyond Zuma. And then when he tries to say this is ethnic and this is this and this is that, that talk won't happen. There's a Bob Marley song that talks about this, where nothing will be able to stop something like this. And beloveds, tell the children the truth. Arm yourself. If you're in South Africa, arm yourself with the truth, with the facts. Go deeper in the information and then share that with your people, your community, online. And with the people of Africa, let's just put our energy into South Africa, because, it will, one way or another, have an effect on the rest of Africa, like every event in every country does, because we're connected by the umbilical cord, beloveds. There was one original mother, stories for other days, but seriously, let's just continuously, chant and pray, whatever rituals you do, whether it's to the rivers, whether it's to the mountains. Place your petitions for South Africa today, beloveds. Whether it's to write something and put it in as your sacred tree. Because the ancestors are back. There's also nefarious, demonic spirits that are here. And so we really have to pray that the people remain as uplifted as possible, so that they can be superpowered by the right energy to do the right thing. Tuko pamoja.